Hi there, this is Shauna from the Foil Fox, and I'm here on Paper Tray Ink's YouTube channel, and I'm sharing a new stamp and die set called Adorning Trees. And these have these wonderful modern trees that you can use for lots of occasions, not just for the holiday time. And it has the outlines, or you can use the whole thing or just the inside. There's so many ways you can use it. And it has a matching die set. And of course, it has stars and garland and lots of other things that go with it. And then for the sentiment, I'm going to use from The Greatest Gift, Oh Holy Night. But Oh Holy Night also has all these other sentiments that you could use, that if that suits your fancy. And then as another alternative, you can use Joyful Florals, which has Joy for the World, which would be lovely as well. Then the papers I'm going to be using today, I got a piece of glitter paper. I prize this paper. And then we're going to get to the black in just a minute. I have some white cardstock, which is 110 pound. I want it quite stout. And then I have a piece of 6.5 by 7 white cardstock and 2 pieces of 6.5 by 7.5 of black cardstock. And I want these to match perfectly so that they fit together like that, because that will be the base of my card. So I'm going to start out with that white cardstock and the glitter paper. I'm going to cut out the trees and the star and the trunks of the trees. And I'm going to cut the garland out of, these little zigzag pieces, cut them out of the glitter paper plus the star and the trunks. And so I'm going to cut out 3 of the big trees and 2 of the other 2 size trees. So here they are all cut out. You can see them, 3 of the big one, 2 of the others. Then I have my garland that I cut out. I did cut the garland out of white too, but in the end I just used it with the way I used the glitter paper. I wasn't going to stack that. So now I'm going to take each shape of this tree, and I kept the negative space where I cut out these trees, mounted it in my stamp positioner. I'm using some repositionable tape just to keep it down while I stamp it. And it's just a tape runner that is repositionable, so you can take it take it off here very easily. And then I have all of the stamps, outline stamps, mounted so that it fits perfectly onto those pieces of the trees. And then I'm using lots of anti-static powder and now some Versamark ink. I'm going to stamp these up. I want to make sure that I used a lot of anti-static powder so the embossing powder doesn't stick where I don't want it to. I'm going to make sure that I also got a good impression with the Versamark ink. And I'm going to take each of these out, take out the centers. I'm actually not going to use the centers for this. Now you can use any color scheme for this card, and that's one of the things that's great about it. I'm just going with a black, gold, and white. I'm going to sprinkle this. This is Wow Metallic Gold Pale, but you can use any of your favorite golds. I'm going to set those aside, and now I'm going to just quickly heat emboss these. Doesn't take much. Now you see I'm heat embossing it directly onto my work surface, and that's because it's tempered glass and it can withstand the heat. But keep that in mind. If you don't have a heat resistant surface, don't try to emboss them directly onto your surface. I don't want them to melt on you. Because those heat tools can get pretty hot. So I have, if you remember, I cut 3 of these. I'm going to stack one right on top of the other. 3 of the big tree and only 2 of the small trees. So I'm just stacking these and making sure that they just go together perfectly. It's really easy to do, especially when you use a liquid glue, because that gives you some room to position them so they kind of slip around a little bit, just enough for you to hold it together. So just 2 for each of these. And then we're going to go on to the next step as soon as these get all together. can see how they have the different thicknesses. The middle tree is a little bit thicker. And then now I'm going to take the one tree trunk, and I'm going to stack it with white and then put the glitter on top. I'll only do this for the middle tree, the large tree, because it happens to have that thickness. And then I have the star and the gold star, and I have its little garland, that's glitter garland, and I'm putting just a drop of glue on the ends of each of these, because that's all that's going to be touching the outline. And I'm going to just position those. And I'm going to do that to take the star first, and I'm stacking the star. I want it nice and stout, so I did put a white star behind it just so that I could stack it, and it's really stout. I'm going to set those aside for a minute, and I'm going to bring in these my card base. So I have two of the black, and the reason why I have two of the black is this is a big card, and I want to stack them. I want to glue them together, but you'll see that in a minute. I'm just kind of positioning these. You see, I haven't gotten the trunks on my trees yet. I'm just getting an idea where I want them to be. So I'm going to take a pair of scissors and just clip them off, because I don't want them as long as the center tree. I'm just going to trim these off. And I have the Old Holy Night there. I'm just using it to position it for the moment. Now let's glue those trunks down. I'm a little bit off camera, I know, but here we'll get this going so you can see. It's just really easy. Just glue those trunks down. And I use my work surface because it has a grid anyway, and it holds it. I make sure that I can get it in the center by using the grid there. Now I've got this positioned in my stamp positioner, and I'm getting an idea where I set it up so I could see where I wanted that Oh Holy Night. And now that I knew where it was, I have it positioned there. I'm going to put lots of anti-static powder on here, and on this kind of the sky, so to speak, too. Stamp it with Versamark ink. Now Versamark ink has a long open time, so I'm going to take advantage of that. After I get through stamping this sentiment, I'm going to take, there is in this stamp set a little star and a little dot. So I'm going to use that as a sprinkling for my sky. I'm going to put the trees back so I can check the positioning again. And I'm just going to use just a few of the stars, and then I'm going to use the dots, because that's going to be kind of, I'm just going to create my sky there. I'm not going to use too many of these. I don't want it to just be completely covered, just a smattering of them. I know it's hard for you to see, but I'm going to sprinkle them with the gold embossing powder, and then you'll see exactly what I mean. And now I'm going to just sprinkle it a little bit more, make sure I get really good coverage, then use a brush and brush off any errant pieces of embossing powder. And then heat emboss this. Now, this is why I'm going to use 2 pieces of black paper sandwiched together, because when you heat emboss it, it does warp a little bit, the heat, and then and it gets a little constricted by the embossing powder. So I'm going to stack another one, and it is a big card. Remember, it's 6.5 by 7.5, and I actually love that oversized card because it's just very impressive. But I'm putting glue all around, especially around those very, very edges, so that it adheres really nicely. And don't make sure you wipe off your hands from the glue if you're using your fingers like I do, because you want to not get any on the front of your card. And I'm pushing that down really hard. And I'm going to I'm going to put a book on top, and then my giant old dictionary, I'm going to put that in the on top and let it sit for a little bit. It went pretty fast, but that's what I did. Now I'm taking the white card base. See how the white card base is the same size, and I've made a score line a 1/2 inch in. And this, because again, it's oversized, this is what's going to create the back of my card. And it'll create kind of that easel back. It's a quick and easy way to make a back for an oversized card. You don't have to sweat it. You can still use your regular 8.5 by 11 pieces of paper. And then I'm just going to make sure that it gets really good and adhered. Bend that back a little bit, give it a little bit of exercise. And so there you go. You can see how that fits. Now we're going to go back to our trees. And I'm going to go back to positioning these because we're going to glue these down now that we already have our sky and our sentiment in place. So I'm just using the liquid glue again. The liquid glue gives you a chance, first of all, that it's narrow there. So I like to use that, the liquid glue, for 2 reasons. It slips and easily, and so you can kind of move it around in position, but you don't want to move it around too much. You want to know exactly where it's going to go, because you don't want it to slip so much that the glue's going to move it, and then some of the glue is going to be left behind and leave a little shiny mark. It will dry clear, but it's a little bit shiny, and this is a matte black background. So I've positioned those 2, glued them down, and now I'm going to glue down the 3rd one, which is the center one. I really like how these modern trees look. They're just with the garland on there, but we're going to do one more thing to really pump it up, and that is we're going to use some of these jewels. I'm going to put them in my trusty little tray, which, by the way, you can find on Foil Fox, and use my tool here, my quick stick. You can find that there at Foil Fox as well. And I'm just going to position these jewels right now, just to make sure that they're right in the right place that I want them, because I don't want any places where I don't want to guess with the glue. I want to make sure I get them where I want them and then use the glue. It's kind of like measure twice and cut once. You want to do that with the glue, because you don't want to decide, oh, I didn't want it there, and then now you have glue there. So be sure you position them first and then glue them. So now I figured out where I wanted them. Now I'm going to use that spot of glue. It just takes a little spot. You can just, this pickup tool will make it really quick, because you can put the glue and then you pick up your jewel, and the glue will release it off your tool, so it works out really nicely. It's a quick way to get them all done. Then we're going to go on to the last tree here, get its jewels on there, and just think, you could use so many different kinds of jewels, different colors. The backgrounds could be different colors. I think a red, or any of the vibrant blues, or almost any color you can think of. You don't have to go with this kind of chic, New York chic black, but I thought that I would. I love those color combinations, and with the gold, I think it's really smashing. And I hope you did too, by the way. And if you did, please be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and give us a thumbs up. But I just really like the way that this is a very dramatic card, and it comes together really quickly. Now, a few of the items that I used just as a recap are Adorning Trees, the Stampin' Die set, and then the greatest gift was from the old Holy Night, and then the alternative was the Joyful Florals, but you can choose any of them that you might have in your stash. Again, I want to thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.